Welcome to Con Carne. I'm James Van Ostel, and Con Carne is presented by Alex Ross Art. Any of you guys read comic books?
Love Alex Ross. Yeah.
Love Alex Ross. He's the best, right?
Great Wonder Woman, great Superman,
He makes these characters look like they're real, like they could jump in a car in Logan Square and hang out with us.
Yeah.
Like totally photorealistic painting. Alex Ross has his own YouTube channel. You should subscribe, and here's Alex Ross to tell you all about that.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
It's Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Ostel.
I'm recording this episode on December 1st, and I'm here with the December boys. It's Woolworthy. Woohoo!
Hey.
Rudy, Rick, and Dave are in the car with me. The band Woolworthy, power pop, pop punk, a band from Chicago that went away for a long time, but now they're back. They're back with this album right here, Electric Heartbreak. Gorgeous vinyl edition. Fantastic return to form for Woolworthy. Mark Doyle, the drummer, will be joining us in progress. Little does he know he's going to be profoundly uncomfortable when he gets in the back seat. But that's what you get for showing up late.
We've done lots of weird stuff, so I'm sure he's fine. He'll be fine.
Used to it.
Yeah. He's cuddled up with Rudy before.
So it's been a while since we've all chatted. And it's funny, we have a mutual friend in the Chicago music scene who said, I have a band from Chicago I think you're going to be interested in. And then she shared the name Woolworthy. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up, of course. Like,
what year are we talking?
Yeah. I know Woolworthy. I love Woolworthy. In fact, we were all part of this one. Visual Aid. This CD, Local 101 Volume 2.
Was fun.
Q101 put it out back in 99, maybe?
Yeah.
I produced it. Woolworthy was on it. Caviar was on it.
I got on there twice. I was really excited about it.
Yeah. Dave made 2 appearances, but we go back a little way.
It's a good comp.
It is a good comp. It is. Nash Cato was on that.
Who else is on it?
Yeah, Apocalypse Hoboken.
Yeah.
That was
Nash
still
Cato, yeah.
That was still one of my proudest moments in Chicago radio, was getting that song by Hoboken on the radio, Little Fingers, which is the most vulgar and profane. There's one line in it where Todd Potts says something about, I want to suck a bucket of crud right out of you. I don't think you can do that.
Sounds about right.
You can't get away with that anymore. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's,
You probably can't do it anymore either.
Yeah. Well, what's the adage? Write what you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Woolworthy, why did you go away? Why are you back?
Why did we go away? I'm not sure why we went away. It just kind of happened.
Had you just at that point petered out?
Well, we're talking 2005. So Rudy and I started the band in
94. End of 94.
End of 94, 95.
If you're watching this, I apologize.
Well, there was a few things that were all kind of happening at the same time. When we broke up, we lost the tapes to the recordings that we did. The guys in the band were in other bands as well, and we were just trying to juggle life.
Wait, you lost the tapes? Because you just put all that stuff on Bandcamp. Did you find them again?
No,
different recording.
Different recording.
Okay.
This was the album with Baltazar, right?
This is the album with Baltazar at
From
Engine
Menthol?
Studios. We did 5 songs. We were working on a record, and the tapes were lost, and that kind of
my God.
And that kind of hurt our hearts. So, plus other things going on, we just decided to take a break. We never broke up for any reason of we didn't like each other.
It wasn't acrimony like I hate you guys.
No,
We
not
love
at
each
all.
other. There's
Lineup changes too.
Lineup changes were happening. Right.
A lot of guitar player. Like Dave was, he was doing Caviar, and then another band. After that, we had Alex from Muchacha
infamously
playing
left
with
the
us.
band. So
Everyone knows each other. Everyone plays with each other at some point. You stay in the city long enough, you've crossed paths with
what?
everybody.
I'd like to think that that entire time that Woolworthy was broken up until right now, it's just like Pro Tools. We just cut that out and paste them together. So that's why this record now is literally just right after the last record. Because that's what it sounds like. So
21 years.
Yeah, we just edited that out.
21 years. It's, and what did I say to you guys before we started recording? This album sounds to me like a Woolworthy album. Truly, to follow your metaphor, Dave, it's like those 21 years didn't happen. Like, this is just the natural next release.
Yes, and that's why we got back together. Is when I wrote these songs, I realized that these are very Woolworthy type songs. Even though I was in another band, Dave and I were in the Dead On after Woolworthy, and so when I wrote these songs, I thought these songs are for my brothers. I'll put these to the side and wait for the time that we can work on them, and that 2023 became that year.
So, Rick and Dave, when Rudy said, check out these songs I wrote, was it just a given that you were jumping back in?
Well, initially, when we started to jam, Rudy, it wasn't like, hey, we're getting Woolworthy back together. It was like, hey, do you guys want to jam some songs in my basement? I'm feeling out like just some songs you guys could help me record. I don't know what I'm going to do with
I think deep down, though, Rudy was yearning. He was yearning for friendship.
Always yearning. I was always yearning for that.
Craving.
Definitely could be. Definitely could be.
But I
knew
really
I could
think
lure
so,
them in with the music. That was my plan.
But once we got into the songs, I think it was pretty clear. We're like, okay, it was Mark, it was me, it was Rudy. All of a sudden, it was Dave. It was, it was like, okay, this is just Woolworthy.
I realize you started out in 1995. The band got its name from Woolworth's, a long-departed department store. There are generations now who are listening or watching who don't even get that reference whatsoever.
No.
Like had you formed 10 years later, you could have been Moo and Oink, you could have been Dominic's.
Could have been Dominic's.
Jules.
Dom.
Well, we've had a lot of misspellings with
Jules.
the name too.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
been called Woolworthy, right? There's there's been all kinds of.
It's a hard name to say sometimes too.
It is. Especially if you're eating taffy. So again, Electric Heartbreak is the album. There are songs of heartbreak on this, I think.
There are
A lot of them.
Sure, there's a few of them. There's some songs of hope.
Where are the hopeful songs? Hang on.
Well, the Bottle Rocket's a positive song. That's a song about,
That's true.
That's a good one.
You've written a couple songs about things that explode. Hand grenade,
Bottle
bottle rocket.
rockets.
Yeah.
My heart.
I think hand grenade is the the heartbreak part of it, because that's basically like a relationship exploding, right? So,
Sure.
And can we talk about that lead guitar on that song?
Yes.
That Dave lead guitar?
It's amazing. It's so good.
Rudy saves.
But yeah, this song, Romance, is a hand grenade. Never had a chance to make it, always knew he'd detonate it.
Pull the pin on the hand grenade.
Yeah. Ripping up Valentine's. But you know what? This song, like every other song, it's a great guitar song. You're a guitar band. And you dial it in so beautifully together.
Thank you. I always felt that way too.
When we first got together here tonight, our first coming together in 20 plus years, we're on a side street in Logan Square, and you asked me a lot of questions about what we can and can't do in the car. And I had to, say, this is a sponsored show, we have to be responsible. And someone, I forgot which of you, said, we do have a song on the album called Break the Law with You. So, you're predisposed to giving your finger to the man.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm a delinquent, and we could be fugitives. We could rob a bank or two. Oh, my sweet little turtle dove.
That's a good one.
That's a good hook. A little dove hook.
I mean, you've got these sweet Bonnie and Clyde vibes going on in that song.
Completely.
Actually,
Yes.
I really like the Bonnie and Clyde vibe in that song, because that song is about 20 years old, but been rewritten a bunch of times. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that we lost. And
Really?
we brought it back with some changes.
With different lyrics.
Different lyrics.
Yeah,
different
lyrics.
But I hadn't heard the
did.
new lyrics at all, Rudy, and so when you finally laid them down, I'm like, this is really, I really like where this went. You know?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's kind of fortunate that the City Girls was the original title. I'm glad that song died, because Break the Law with You is way, way cooler.
And when you serenade someone with lyrics like that, if that person is on board, you know you found the one.
Yes. You take her home.
That's it.
You go break a law first, and then you take her home.
I'm looking at my notes, going back to Bottle Rocket. Sounds more positive than Hand Grenade. Okay, good. We covered that. That's
More positive.
Yeah.
Nobody died in that one.
Where have all the Glad girls gone? Again, big guitar riffs on this. What's a Glad girl?
Well, that song, it's obvious. I ripped it off the title from The Glad Girls by Guided by Voices. And, in their song, they say, glad girls, they get you high. They're always fun to be around. And so when I was writing that song, I was like, where are these girls? Because they seem to be gone from Chicago. So this was my anthem to talk about bringing them all back.
So James, I asked the exact same question in the studio. I'm like, what is a glad girl? And he said, there used to be all these cool chicks at the shows. I'm like, they're all married with kids. That's where they are. That's where they went.
They're at home.
But just in general, whenever I go out, I just don't see the cool rock chick around anymore. That whole identity is gone, and so this song is an ode to them.
They moved to L.A.
I'm trying to bring them out of the. I know they're out there. You just got to pull them out of the.
They moved to
woodwork.
Naperville.
They're asleep.
They're in Schaumburg.
Nothing wrong with Schaumburg. I'm
No.
going to IKEA this weekend. I love a good Lingonberry soda.
Speaking of the suburbs, James, I heard from someone you have a sandwich named after you
I do.
out in the burbs
Out
somewhere?
in McHenry. So it's about, from where we are right now, it's about 5,000 miles.
Okay.
I
I know where McHenry is.
Yeah, it's a hike. It's worth it. It's a special, and it comes back when the need arises.
Yeah.
It gets pressed into
Is
service.
it called the
place is
JVO?
good.
It is called the JVO.
Wow.
What's in it?
I'm so glad you asked. It is an open-faced sandwich on cornbread with pulled pork, bacon, coleslaw, Mike's Hot Honey, and there's another meaty thing in there too.
I'm getting hungry.
That
Right.
sounds like a
Sounds
hand grenade for your heart.
It absolutely is.
And delicious.
I talk about this a lot. Album sequencing, figuring out what that perfect order is of songs, and I'm listening to this album, and I'm aware that you spent some time thinking about the sequence and how the songs flow, especially because "We Are Ruined" is at the end. That seems like an appropriate kind of an outlier, stacked up with the rest of the album. It's an acoustic song about a ruined girl. This sounds deeply personal.
It is deep. It's actually about an ex-girlfriend. I won't say her name, but yeah, it's almost completely about her, which is very rare for me. Most of my songs are pieces of people and not always about me at all. They're pieces of lots of people, but this song is completely about me.
You have great, memorable turns of phrase. I had fallen because she dropped me. That stuck out. Also, a beautiful tornado. That's a great way to describe someone.
Thanks, James. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I think about my lyrics. They're as important to me as the riff is.
Do you have more waiting to go, or did you reach a point where you're like, this is it, this is who we are right now?
A little bit of both, right, Rico? I mean, we definitely have more. There's definitely more songs to be working on that we're going to start working on. But right now, we felt like this was the appropriate amount of songs that we could get done to get the record out this year, and also kind of tells a story of where Woolworthy is today.
I think, initially you proposed a certain amount of songs, and then once it turned out to be a Woolworthy record, that's when we decided to pull some of those older songs that we lost from back when.
I think I'm glad you reclaimed them.
Yeah, had
Yes.
to.
Yeah, there were some shotgun moments there, though. Remember,
Yes.
remember Rudy when you called me, or you were like, Dave, I need you to lay down some solos on this record or whatever, and then literally 2 days later, are you available right now? Right now.
And you were like, yes, I'll be
I
right
was
there.
at I was at my kids' party or whatever, and I'm in jorts or something, and I'm just like, okay, what? So then I come to the studio
Next
and just
thing you know.
next thing I know it, I'm doing take after take, it was just like boom, get it done, because there's only so much time you have in the studio, right? So
True.
You bring up a really interesting point, Dave. We all came up during a time when jorts were not not
wondering
problematic.
Who's going to bring up the jorts?
We grew up in a time where it was okay to wear carpenter jean shorts. But now that's toxic.
I have a threshold of I don't wear shorts unless it's 80 degrees or more. Rudy never wears shorts.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I say if Elvis doesn't wear shorts, Iggy Pop doesn't wear shorts, I'm not wearing shorts.
Iggy Pop doesn't wear a shirt. He's still naked.
Elvis wore shorts. He did.
Wasn't he in
Didn't he
Hawaii?
Only,
Hawaiian?
Yeah.
only swim trunks. That's not shorts. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're showing some knee, it's a short. They're shorts.
Short pants. Yeah. No, he didn't wear. He didn't wear. You never saw Elvis in jean shorts.
So you had the release show a couple weeks ago, and I apologize. I know we meant to do this before the release show. How'd that go? How did it feel to get these songs out there in front of faces looking back at you?
We torched the Montrose Saloon. It doesn't exist anymore. Eric, thank you for letting us play there. Thank you for letting us destroy your establishment. So
it was good.
it was great.
it went
Yeah.
well.
It was fantastic. Right. It was last Wednesday.
We had concerns though about how loud we could be because Montrose Saloon is kind of a neighborhood bar.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone cared by the time we started playing. So, yeah, it was rowdy.
It was good.
So with that, the big kind of return show, the release show, out of the way, what's next? I mean, I'm assuming there are more gigs coming.
Trying.
Yes, we're working on more gigs. We just want to find the right ones. We're just going to play with next weekend. We're going to wait for the right show with the right moment, strategery.
Perfect.
Yeah, you kind of got to book that holiday show in advance. Like we're kind
to be quite honest, I don't like playing in January.
No one does.
No one does in Chicago, so I think we'll skip January and we'll jam it.
Well, that's the time to woodshed. That's the time to work on those songs that
That's right.
didn't make it to Electric Heartbreak.
But do you remember, Rudy, the time we were going to Double Door in the snowstorm? I think we were playing in a January or something.
Yes.
And it's snowing really bad, and I'm like, man, this weather's terrible. And Rudy's like, that's cool, man. People like going out in the snow.
No.
That was
Did
my
anyone
answer.
show
I was
up?
just trying to hype you
Yeah,
up, man.
Mark Doyle, the drummer we mentioned, he may or
Did
may
you
not
text
be
him?
here.
Oh, my phone's up there.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
right, I'll text him. Yeah. Sorry.
He's probably on
He
his
may.
way. He lives across the street.
So what can he add? What do we need to talk to him about?
He loves you. That's what he can't wait to
Food.
see you.
He wanted to talk about food.
Tell him about your sandwich.
Yeah.
Mark Doyle was on one of those rare one album wonders. Like there are so few bands in history that get like one album then they go away.
Yep.
He was on one of them. Mark.
I don't think Mark is not the biggest talker about Loud Lucy. It's just not because I bring it up all the time because we would go see them.
Yeah.
Like we were kind of like fans. And yeah, he doesn't really bring it up too much. I think maybe he thought it was kind of teeny bopper-ish or something. But it really wasn't. It was cool.
Well, what do you remember about that period, that era? I mean, because for those who weren't in it, even for those who were, there was kind of a mythological, almost Camelot perception of Chicago back then.
Well, it was a scene. It was an actual scene. I mean, it was similar to Seattle. Like there was, you
a
had
lot
your
going on.
your waves of bands. You had your Pumpkins and your Urge Overkills and your Liz Fairs, and then all of a sudden, there's a huge signing wave, and then you get the Popes and the Triple Fast Actions, etc.
Right.
And then then people like myself were like, well, I gotta be in Chicago. But I'm in college at the time, so not in Chicago. So I'm just like, well, I gotta move there. That's where stuff is happening, So I met Mark at an Urge Overkill show at NIU, like before they were even signed. Yeah.
That's
So-
cool.
Yeah, he remembers. I remember. We were just hanging out before the show. They were not signed yet, but I think they were getting courted by Geffen, and that's why they were opening for Urge at the show.
Like 35 years later,
yeah, it was
you're
a
in a
long
band
time
together.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was privy to the band, and Rudy, you knew the band too, just from being in the city, right?
Yeah, I was a fan, and I met Mark at Thurston's at a Loud Lucy show, and he lost his hat, and he was looking. I saw him, in the back couch that was upstairs, looking for his hat. And I was like, "Hey, man, can I help you find your hat?" And he was really freaking out because he needed this hat after his show. So I found his hat for him, and we became buddies because of that.
Maybe the hat
Fast
gives him
friends.
his powers.
It must. It was like because he had really curly hair, and he needed to put his
that's
his
it.
hair down after his set. And then I saw them several times after that, and then ran into him at the Double Door at a show when he wasn't in a band, and asked him to join Woolworthy, and he jumped on it.
That's great. Well, it's a tight band. Again, the album Electric Heartbreak. It's streamable, of course. It's way cooler if you get it on vinyl.
Hey, Mark. Hey. Surprise party. It's morning.
The big guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Doyle of the band Woolworthy. At last.
Hey,
at
James.
last.
How's it going?
Nice to see you.
There he
I'll
is.
see you too.
Wait, did you kick Dave out?
I did.
We were having such a nice time with him.
It only
can swap
fits
back
3 guys.
You guys could have crammed in here.
I can ask him.
He could sit in my lap.
Oh, now he looks
No.
sad.
Dave, come back. You want to try to squeeze in?
He's on his phone.
He's sad and forlorn. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good.
We've already talked at length about the band and the album, so good night.
All right.
But what I was saying, I've said it now a couple times. My first thought listening to this album is, yeah, it sounds like Woolworthy.
Yeah.
Not missing a beat whatsoever.
I think it's our best record we've ever done. Where we were musically then is we couldn't have put this record out then. You know, this like Rudy had a lot of these ideas floating around in his head, and the original. I don't know if you guys talked about this, but the original idea was we weren't going to get Woolworthy back together. We were just going to record, each going to record a couple songs with them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we started playing that we're like, God, this really feels like the old...
The magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know none of us said anything at the time. We just kind of, I mean, maybe a little bit. And then once we got in the studio, I think it was Jeff Dean who was like, dude...
It was before the studio.
before that,
yeah.
Rick and I talked about it,
yeah,
and
he's
we
like-
were like, this is what...
Jeff
we got.
Dean, the mayor of Morton Grove.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
He was like, why don't you just... He's like, why don't you just have Doyle do all the drums instead of trying to set up, 2 or 3 drum sets and then like a week or two before, it just really felt like it was a Woolworthy record. And
It is.
And
And it is, because
No,
these
it
songs
is.
were written for Woolworthy, in my heart.
I love it. All right, the new album is available now. It is streamable. It is Electric Heartbreak. Don't look for this band on stage when it's snowing out. It's not going to happen. But once the weather clears up in Chicago, we can see you on stage once more. I am so like, I'm jazzed that we're doing this again decades later. We're not in a studio talking about the album. We're sitting in a car on a side street in Logan Square. But still, it feels like old times.
It sure does. And you were such a big proponent or a supporter of Woolworthy, even back on our first record, our first demos. You would put them on Q101, and thank you for that.
You called my landline for that local 101.
I did?
Yeah, you called me up.
Well, this was people weren't on email back then. So when I knew that for bands, if they were going to be played on the radio, they wanted to hear it and tell their friends. And I tried to call everybody I was going to play in advance of it so that they knew. So it wasn't, because once it's gone, it's gone. Once the broadcast is over, you don't get to hear it again. So I tried to call as many people as I could, and then later progressed to being able to email people like, hey, heads up, this is coming. But I always thought that was like the right thing to do.
That was awesome.
That's cool. Calling the landline.
Loved it.
There's Dave taking a photo.
Oh, cool. Action shot. I look so not metal. All right, Woolworthy, thank you, congratulations, and I'm just glad you're back.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
James.
JBO.
Much appreciated.